All right, welcome everybody. I'm Lucian Fogoros, and today we're talking about edge computing, AI application in manufacturing and logistics. And our guest is Blake Kerrigan, the general manager of edge computing and emerging business at Lenovo. Welcome, Blake. Give us
Hey,
a quick overview as to how edge computers developed over the last decade and what is it heading now with a stronger processing power on the AI workloads.
yeah, it's been kind of an interesting ride. I'd say that I always start kind of answering that question by saying that, IoT is nothing more than an evolving, industrial machine to machine journey, if you will. So I think in a lot of ways where it's evolved is a lot of commoditization of, protocols and machine types. And you're starting to see enterprises where once you needed solution integrators and independent software vendors to develop solutions. You're starting to see enterprises become more aware, more capable of developing these systems and solutions on behalf of themselves. So I'd say that's probably the biggest change that I've observed over the years.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, and it's one of the main reason we started IoT World to educate around that. Can you talk about some of the challenges in building and deploying applications at the edge that you've seen?
Yeah, interestingly enough, being one of the largest, technology manufacturers in the world, one of the things that I think over the last 10 years that's really happened is people seem to have forgotten that in order to run reliable and resilient, application and software stacks, you have to run them on, qualified, certified hardware. And one of the things that I've seen and witnessed is the fact that what you may be able to get to run in some sort of a POC or a laboratory environment doesn't necessarily mean that it'll run at scale across multiple different factories, multiple states, multiple different countries. So that's really kind of where kind of one part of, I would say, the ecosystem that Lenovo is trying to address.
Got it. Okay, and maybe expand a little bit. Particularly as it relates to the manufacturing, as to some of the differentiator that the the Edge products offer.
Yeah, so I mean, I think as we talked about some of the evolution, what we've seen at least in manufacturing is that what used to be, I guess you could say, kind of a single flow process in manufacturing, and it could be packaging or some sort of a detection of fault or some sort of an independent process used to be kind of bucketized, and they were almost cyclical in nature, and you had a lot of processes that weren't talking to each other. And I think one of the things that's changed through, kind of, you could say like protocols like Modbus going over IP as opposed to, threaded pairs of wires, is that we've been able to bring a lot of that data into a consolidated device. So where you may still maintain independent automated processes, you can monitor and orchestrate those processes through a singular device or say a clustered node of devices. And we've seen it kind of migrate from single state, kind of low end compute, ARM based or Intel Atom based to truly Core i5, i7 type x86 architectures. And then you add either integrated or discrete graphics capabilities for AI that actually kind of opens up the possibilities of true AI near or next to the process as opposed to post process, which is kind of what we've been doing for the last 10 years or so with respect to the machine to machine process.
Got it. Now, expand a little bit on this application. Who is the user of the product? Who's interfacing with the ThinkEdge products to leverage the power of AI at the edge? Is it a control system engineer? Is it an operator? Where do you put that power into
Yeah,
being able to
it's
possibly deploy?
interesting as we migrate to like I mentioned, kind of more programmable logic controllers to true x86 based machines. It's actually a different, it's kind of there's more than one, not only decision maker but buyer within an organization. And The OT buyer, in the case that you mentioned, may be more concerned with the ruggedness, the reliability, the temperature specification, but the IT decision maker is probably more concerned about security and manageability and orchestration. And obviously, Cloud Connect is a huge thing now. So I've found in most of RFIs and RFPs, it looks like it's been written by two different authors, and I think most recently we're starting to see those two communities kind of converge in most of the mature customer sets that we have.
Great insights there. And yes, there's a lot to be talked about the IT OT convergence, and certainly we have a number of sessions coming up on that. Now, maybe I'd like to kind of wrap things up with a one question now. How do you see this AI application evolving as it relates to the couple of industry that we referenced earlier?
I think that in the same way that we've started to see, large scale, or you could say several different strings of process being tied together, with the advent of AI and machine learning capabilities at the edge, I think it really just expands the horizon where we used to have vision systems for, say, visual inspection. Now that would basically run one workload. Now what we're starting to see is that we can have single, say, vision-based appliances that can monitor multiple different vision systems, running multiple different AI inferencing models, doing everything from detecting PPE, like hard hats and safety glasses, to spills of sorts across the floor, maybe packages flying off machines where they're not supposed to, and people in areas where they shouldn't be. So not only can we improve process, we can improve, which in turn improves outcomes. We can improve things like safety and well-being of our employees within those manufacturing facilities.
Got it. And do you see more of the companies that perhaps they couldn't have access to a vision because of cost, now leveraging some of this AI at the edge to replace, or not replace, perhaps come up with a quality system that maybe is not as expensive vision system, but yet it does a similar thing?
Yeah, it's actually a great point, and I have, we've worked with a lot of customers who, have interest in these types of solutions, and one of the challenges is everybody's manufacturing process, workflow, goods, and raw materials are completely different from industry to industry. And one of the things that's important is to give, not only, well, to really give the decision makers, the developers, and within the IT organizations the ability to build new AI models to do things like inference on, maybe it's a car door on this side of the house, and it could be something like a laptop cover in another manufacturing facility. But what's important is that they need to be able to have access to tools in order to train those types of models to their specific business types and applications. And with appliances that we're building in concert with partners like AWS with their new Panorama SDK that runs on, say an SE70, which is a Lenovo Vision appliance, they have the ability to build with the tools that exist in the cloud through AWS cloud services, but then they can also dispatch, manage, and provision those types of vision inferencing models at the edge. So that's very important, is that we have to be able to, connect the kind of cloud native developer to the, kind of embedded or edge side of the business in order to get those types of desired business outcomes.
Got it. Thank you, Blake, for those detailed examples. And if you'd like to learn more, or if you have questions for Blake and Blake's team, feel free to leverage the hashtag on a screen and ask the question. We'll get it to the appropriate person. And looking forward to host you in the future at other events like the Digital Manufacturing Day we have in December and so on.
Great. It's been a pleasure, Lucian.